Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we are building in Brindleton Bay, and I thought it would be fun using the new expansion pack to create a little small residential business here on the dock. And it is a bait shop, and it also offers classes on fishing. And then because I did replace the Salty Paws Saloon, I decided to also throw in a little bit of a bar area for everyone to congregate, whether they be having, a little lunch or just a few drinks while they're attending classes. I thought it would be a nice little touch. There's also going to be a little shop area where the customers or the patrons can browse and buy different kinds of bait that you can use for fishing. And of course, there's plenty of little fishing spots right near this dock, so it works really nicely. The only thing that I did encounter was you can't have fishing as a activity on this lot, because even though it's right on the dock and there's a fishing spot within walking distance, there is no active pond or body of water that is stocked with fish on the lot itself, and therefore the fishing activity does not work, which is a little bit upsetting. However, the sim that I created for the playtesting of this build, he was able to go over to the nearby dock where there is a fishing spot, and from there click on the little sign and offer paid mentoring to any of his customers, and they would just walk over to him and he would be able to mentor them. So it still works in a sense. The fishing activity just isn't one of the activities that you can have listed in the menu of activities on the lot, if that makes sense. But here you'll see I have a little inspiration picture up. I got this one off of Pinterest, and I thought maybe it was it's either an AI recreation or it's a set kind of thing, like from a movie or from a play set that someone built. And I just thought it looked really, really cool, and I liked how it was right on the dock. It definitely inspired me and looked a lot like what I can see in Brindleton Bay. So that is why I decided to build this here today. And for the build, you'll see I created the basic shape of it using this inspiration image, and then I pulled out a bunch of signs and different things to put on the outside of the building to kind of make it busy. I also pulled out this crane thing. I'm not sure what it is, but it's from the live edit menu in Cats and Dogs. And then I pulled out some, little anchors, some fish traps, and some buoys, and a couple life preservers. There's also this sign with the crab on it and some beer, it looks like, holding. So I thought that was a nice little touch. There's also a little fisherman statue and a bunch of crates that also came with Cats and Dogs Debug and Live Edit. And then for the siding, I chose this weathered one from Horse Ranch in kind of like a beigey tone. I was very subdued. It was kind of, at first I thought it was a little boring, maybe throw in some color, but I like it because it does match the image. And you don't want anything too bright right here because you don't want to distract any passing ships. So that was that was my understanding of why it wouldn't be a bright color. And also if it is right here on the dock, it probably gets a lot of sea air and it probably gets really dried out, so it would look a little bit weathered. It makes a little bit of sense to me. Here you'll see I'm just moving these little fish traps around and these little crates, and then I pulled out this big stack of crates that kind of has a tarp hanging on it, filled in that empty spot in the back there just a little bit, and I do end up creating a little employee section in the back as well. You'll see that soon, but it's really, really cute. I really enjoy it. And then we are creating the wood underneath this entire lot. I think this one is just base game, and it matches the surrounding dock pretty well. I could not find a matching swatch for the actual wood planking outside of the lot, so obviously, it is Sims. But for the rest of the wood on this lot, it is that one from base game. And then I just continued with a lot of pillars and a lot of fencing. And back here, I end up closing it off a little bit. The upper level ends up being the apartment for the owner of the bait shop. And I was thinking about making stairs on the outside of the building, but then I thought, no, I think it should be kind of like in the middle, off to the side. You'll see where I make the stairs very shortly. So I did kind of add a little bit to the back. Since I don't have an image of the back of this building, I thought I could take some liberties in making it make a little bit more sense for us as the player. And then over here where the tin roof is going to be the spot for the bait shop. So I kind of elongated that a little bit, added some roof pieces, and that is the only section that has a different roof than the rest of the building. The rest of the building has, I believe, the regular base game shingles, just in a different color, kind of muted, and I think it worked out really nicely. I also really like all the adornments on the front here near this big open barn door that is from Horse Ranch. I also put an archway from the bar area, is what I'm going to call it, into the bait shop area itself. And then a lot of these windows, which are base game, I believe. And then there's like one or two of these open windows from werewolves, just because they look really weathered. I thought it looked nice. Also the bar from cats and dogs. And then over here is the little bait shop section. So I pulled out a bunch of different fruits and flowers and frogs and all of the other things to try to clutter up those shelves. I also put up some mounted fish in here, but I think I end up moving them into the bar area shortly. And then I added the sliding door from Snowy Escape over in the section that is covered, because I thought that it was nice to have a little outside entry door to the bait shop as well. Repeated that same flooring all throughout. And then on the inside, I went with a little bit of color here. You'll see I have like this dark blue wood kind of weathered siding in the bar area and the classroom area, and then over in the bait shop we have a different color. I think it's like that nice light green. Added a little half wall where the steps are, and of course this large dining table from Cats and Dogs matched with the chairs from Werewolves, because they're kind of like, if interestingly painted, they're kind of patchy, and I thought that it just looked nice. And then there's the whiteboard, of course, from Businesses and Hobbies, so that we can have lectures and classes. More bait going in on the bait shop, and then over here in the bar we're just kind of addressing the decorations in the room. So I put up some fishing lures and stuff on the wall in a display case from Growing Together, and then I threw out this little sign here with the anchor on it out front. Also added the little fisherman gnome from Growing Together as well, just because that was fun. And then making some more columns over here so we have a covered deck space for the owner to enjoy. And then you also see that sign that's up there on the roof, which is probably going to end up moving quite a bit because I had to keep replacing it. That's from Cats and Dogs, and I just thought it looked really nice as the sign on the very top of the building. There's also like a lobster sign on the side, and it lights up at night. It looks really nice. And of course we had to add our spandrels in to make it all match, but I think this is just a really cute entryway. There's a lot of space upstairs, surprisingly, so I did shrink the upper deck a little bit in the apartment because I thought that maybe they needed a little bit more space in the apartment itself. Also pulled out some of these wall hanging fishing poles, and I put them up on the wall over here. I used Tool Mod to adjust them. I don't know if there's supposed to be as many as there are. I thought there was only 2 hanging on the wall, and then as I started moving them with Tool Mod, I realized there was actually like 6 or 8 of them. They were just all stacked together. Not sure why that is, because the gallery does weird things, but I think it does work out nicely. They're just very neatly hanging on the wall. And then at first I pulled out these base game ceiling lights, the kind of like mission style, but I think I changed them in a little bit. Also some hanging Cats and Dogs wall lights, this little werewolves flower arrangement underneath the sign. I think that's like the catch of the day sign. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I just thought it looked really nice in here. And then I added more lanterns all over the tables. And then here I am adding more of these wall hanging lights because I thought that was nice. Outside here we are decorating with this little hanging fish display, and I think that is from Island Living, so I put that in there. I also threw out some hanging lights from Horse Ranch because I wanted that to kind of be like the rustic lighting in the covered space before you go into the bait shop, and also underneath the entryway, and pulled out some Debug and Live Edit fencing for the very front and another fish trap from Island Living. And then I decided to pull out this little barrel of fishing poles and such, and I placed it out front first, and then I used Tool Mod to move the whole thing. And of course it did not work out the way that I wanted it to because again, the game is the game and it is a mod, so I still had to adjust the height of certain things, but I think it looks nice. It's just a barrel full of fishing poles that anyone can borrow if they want to practice the fishing that they have learned in the class. So I thought it fit in really nice here, and hopefully I made it work and you were able to catch those names of those creators. I will put them in the description box as well in case you want to grab some of those items I used. Also in here, replacing the ceiling lights for these ones from Cats and Dogs, and then a little rug from Werewolves underneath the dining table. Out back here is where I'm creating the employee only section. So this is where the employees can go if they need a break. I'm also giving them a little covered space with this awning from Desert Luxe, and then I am adding a dining table and also some more chairs from Werewolves, and there ends up being a little cooler out here as well from Outdoor Retreat. That's where they can like grab their snack or something. I didn't want to put a mini fridge out here because I didn't want it to break in the rain, being as that is not a technically covered space and it is exposed to weather. I know it rains a lot in Brindleton Bay, so I didn't want you guys to have to deal with breaking fridges on the job. And then we have some more signage on the side of the building just to kind of fill it up and give it more interest. And then I thought adding these little corbels everywhere up where the roof line is would give it another little bit of kick. So I enjoyed that. I put those everywhere. Here's a little bit of footage of that. And then I did make a little family for this, like I was saying. So we have Derek Miller, who lives here with his cat, Tasha, and they are very cute together. She likes to hang out in the bar area when he's giving lectures, and she also likes to hang out in the apartment. She has lots of cat trees. She's very spoiled. And when she's not hanging out at home, she likes to explore the nearby areas, and he just kind of does his thing, and she comes home when she's ready. It's a very mutual agreement that they have, and I think it's really fun to play with them. I've been having a pretty good time with it, honestly, so I hope that you enjoy it too. And if you want to see them and you want me to upload those to the gallery, let me know, because I normally don't upload my Sims that I create for playtesting on the gallery, and a lot of times I actually grab them up from the gallery anyway, so I don't end up doing much with them after the fact. But these Sims I actually made myself because I was feeling inspired by the general look of this entire building. Here I'm going to start the decorating of the apartment space, and we have some stairs going in over here to the singular bedroom up at the very, very top, adding some more windows just because I thought it needed a little bit more light, and then the single bed from Cats and Dogs in here. And then we have a little end table from Base Game. I added some, I think, a cat bed, and I believe also I end up adding a dresser later on, but I was running out of time during this build session, so I'm pretty sure that's it. Oh, and then a little cat platform as well for Tasha. Down here, though, we have the bathroom and that little tiny square, and there's also a door to the outside that is from Island Living. We're using these lovely industrial Base Game countertops in the kitchen, and then I pulled out the Base Game black fridge and then this cottage living stove in this black swatch. I did rearrange them a little bit. I just didn't like how it looked right on the right side of the wall, and then I replaced the fridge instead with a mini fridge because I thought it made more sense, and it also gave a little bit more space for a microwave. The kitchen area is actually kind of small in here because I feel like he doesn't do a whole lot of cooking. Really, he's just interested in fishing, but he does want to make sure he has a spot to cook and to entertain because he has lots of friends. He's a very, very social individual, and I wanted to make sure he had a little bit of a spot to eat if he had a guest. We have some cat food bowls, and then out here is kind of like Tasha's favorite hangout spot. So there is a large cat tree that I believe is from My First Pet Stuff, although it could be from Cats and Dogs. I don't remember. It went too fast. We also have a little kitty toy box with a lot of little toys to go inside. I end up putting those in there later. And then in the kitchen, I use the new backsplash tiles that we got in the Base Game update not too long ago. The walls, again, are Horse Ranch wood boards. And then over here, we have the bathroom, which is going to get expanded a little bit. And then we're going to add our tiny living toilet and then the sink from Base Game. The shower is also Base Game. And I end up changing the tile on the walls and floor in here, but I just wanted to throw something in so that it didn't look so plain. I couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to do with the bathroom yet, so I pretty much leave that alone for a while. And then over here in the living room, we pull out this Base Game couch and then the little TV stand that kind of looks like a trunk and the very large TV that sits on top of that. Of course, we have our ticket kiosk out front because definitely need that. And then some more debug stuff, also some trash cans in the shape of barrels. We have a little bucket, and then we are also pulling out some planks of wood. I wanted to put some boats on this a lot, some like little rowboats and such. So this one right here we're pulling out is from Cats and Dogs on this side. And then on the other side, I believe I pull one out. Oh no, I moved it to this far side underneath the crane because I thought it fit nicely over here. And then we are replacing that on this side with this boat from For Rent, I believe, and I think it looks really nice here. Also, these little prop things from Get Famous with the barrels and the rope and the little light. That light actually does work, so I thought it would look nice over here. Also not featured on camera, I realized that I hadn't added a bathroom for the patrons to use, and that was a problem. If you've been playing this recently, you'll know that's a problem. So I do add one later, just off camera in that section. We also have some muddy paw prints out front and some cracks in the floorboards out front on the dock as well. Up here on the front porch section, we have a little dustpan and broom. We have some scratches on the wall, another little fishy sign, just because that one looks really nice. And then over here in the bathroom, we have changed the wall tile to be this one from base game. I added a mirror, a little towel, and of course our usual bathroom clutter stuff, with the addition of the razor, the little electric razor, which I put on the back of the toilet because a man lives here, and my playtester sims are not usually male, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to use that item because I don't use it that often. And then I'm also adding a medicine cabinet behind the toilet because I thought that would be a good spot to keep all of your toiletries, and a little painting over here on the wall as well from Growing Together, and I think that's just from Windenburg. It's just like a little poster for Visit Windenburg. I thought that was nice, changing up these swatches on a few things, but that bathroom is pretty much done. Then we're adding a few more pet bowls over here for Tasha to use, and then in case she has a little kitty friend that comes over, because I made this lot have the cat hangout lot trait, which if you are going to do that as well, I also suggest putting a lot of cat food bowls outside and filling them, and maybe putting some electric zappy litter boxes so that you don't have to clean so many litter boxes, because they will come here and they will pee, and then they will poo, and they will want to eat, and they will go up into the apartment because they have zero boundaries. But you'll see I added a few more decorations to the dining area, those buoys again, and the rug from high school years in that swatch that's very neutral and easy to use. We also have a kitchen island in here now, so we have somewhere to sit and eat that's less formal than the dining table. And I added a soap pump and this little soap holder that I think looks like a sponge, because I thought that that's a nice touch. And then some utensil holders from Horse Ranch and some spices over near the stove, as well as this little shelf from Crystal Creations, and I just threw some plates on top of it because it just looked really nice, and I thought it looked kind of cluttery and like fun and lived in. We also have some drinks on the island just in the corner there, and then a little drinks tray as well from Eco Lifestyle. I think that they look really, really nice there, like he's, planning on mixing a few beverages for a guest or something. And then the stools are from Base Game. Can't forget our trash can, put that in here as well. And then over here we are adding one more little piece of art, just this painting from Horse Ranch of the barn, and I think that's really nice. And then we're going to come over and work in the living room space. We have that little stack of books that's like an end table, I think, and you can actually pull books from that, which is nice. It kind of works as a bookshelf, and I don't have one of those in here, so I thought that that would be a good touch. We also have a little cute end table from Outdoor Retreat and another lamp going on that table. I'm picking out the wallpaper, which is this above deck, which I thought that was funny, considering it is a bait shop, but I use this very neutral color because I didn't want it to be too flashy. He's kind of a simple dude. And then we have another cat scratching post down here because you always need that. That little bag of cat food I pulled out, I end up putting that in the upstairs entryway before you come into the apartment, so you won't see that on camera, but that does get placed somewhere. And then we have a lovely painting on the wall to fill up that big space. That one's from Strangerville, and we have another cat tree because, like I said, Tasha is very spoiled. She has plenty of places to go in the apartment and outside where she can enjoy relaxing and scratching and being her usual cat self. And then out here on the back deck, we have a little chess table just cuz, and some flowers because I wanted it to be kind of decorated but not overly decorated. And upstairs we have the room, which has not changed much since the last time we saw it, but we are adding this lovely gingham pattern wallpaper and then repeating the same floorboards from the rest of the build. And then I wanted to work on some lighting, so we have this lantern again, which I used in the bar area, and this rug from Dream Home Decorator. I was trying to just keep it very simple and like a single dude lives here, and it's kind of no muss, no fuss. But we have this cute little dresser that I think came with Parenthood, and then we have some like sage and a candle up there on the dresser and a little plant, and then a little stack of magazines that came with the Casanova Cave kit, I believe, and that one has like a picture of a house on it. I don't know, I thought it looked nice in here. And then over here near the little cat platform, changing the swatch on that, and then I decided to add a little fishy dangly thing from Island Living. Maybe that's something that the cat plays with. We have another steering wheel. What is that called? Whatever that is. That's up on the wall. And here you'll see a little footage of me placing this turret, but of course it didn't stick around because I was moving so many things and I just never put it back. We also have some newspapers underneath the cat box because that makes a lot of sense. And then over here in the little covered area, we have a bench for sitting, which everyone seemed to enjoy. We're adding some ceiling paint now, the same wood, and then in the bathroom there's some tile. And out front we have our little kitty mailbox, and it's so cute. And that is bringing us to the end of our build. So here is the finished product out on the dock, and here's our little inspiration image up in the corner so you can have a little final look. As you can see, we have a couple sitting on our bench looking up at the sky from the covered area, and I think that's really cute. But we have some other patrons inside who are listening to a fishing lecture, and they are coming and they are paying a good amount of money to just hang out here, drink bar drinks, buy some bait, listen to the lecture, and have a grand old time. There's also lots of kitty cats that come to visit, which is a lot of fun. So like I said, if you're going to play on this lot and have the cat hangout lot trait, I definitely highly suggest having lots of cat food bowls, maybe in the covered space, and some of those laser poopy litter box things so that you don't have to keep cleaning litter boxes all day, because that was annoying for a while. But I really hope that you enjoyed this one. I had so much fun with it, and I did so many things that I don't normally do and don't normally gravitate towards. So if there's anything else you would like to see, please leave a comment down below. And if you have not already, please be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. I am doing a sushi restaurant / residential very soon, so keep an eye out for that one. And once again, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I would love to hear what you guys like to see, so leave those comments and likes, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.